Hello, and welcome. Let's be honest for a moment. You're here because something is broken. You've read the books, you've watched the videos, you've back-tested a dozen strategies. You understand support and resistance. You know what a stop-loss is. You might have even had a few great weeks. Weeks where you thought, this is it, I've finally cracked it. And then it happens. One bad trade turns into three. You move your stop loss just to give it room. You double down on a losing position. You start revenge trading, desperately trying to win back what you lost. By the end of the day, or the week, you've not only given back all your profits, you've blown the account. You sit back, staring at the screen, and the same cold, familiar feeling washes over you. Guilt, shame, confusion, and the terrifying question, why do I keep doing this? I know what I'm supposed to do. Why can't I just do it? This is the hamster wheel of doom. It's the painful gap between what you know as a trader and what you do as a trader. And today, we're going to talk about why that gap exists and the only way to close it. This isn't a top 5 tips for discipline lecture. This isn't another holy grail strategy video. This is something much deeper. We're here to discuss the real reason you've been failing, and it has nothing to do with your strategy, your indicators, or your entry signals. The problem is your identity. You are trying to achieve a professional trader's results while operating from the identity of an amateur. And that internal conflict is the source of all your self-sabotage. Today, we're going to deconstruct this. We're going to talk about that old failing identity and what it means to build a new one from the ground up. This is a conversation about the internal architecture of a professional trader.
But before we dive into that deconstruction, if this is the kind of deep, honest conversation about trading psychology you've been looking for, the kind that goes beyond simple tips, then consider subscribing to this channel. We're building a community here focused on the real internal work. Now, let's begin part 1.
What do I mean by identity? It's not just a label you wear, like, I am a trader. Your identity is your subconscious operating system. It's the collection of deep-seated beliefs, assumptions, and values you hold about yourself in relation to the market. Let's make this practical. If you have a core, unexamined belief that I am an impulsive person, what do you think will happen when the market gets volatile? Your brain will search for a way to prove that belief true. You will act impulsively because that's who you are. If your identity is, I am someone who struggles, your brain will subconsciously create struggle to feel consistent with itself. You will find ways to lose because winning would create an identity crisis. Think about these common destructive trading identities. Do any of them sound like you? The gambler. This identity doesn't care about process. It craves action. It needs the thrill, the dopamine hit of a big leveraged bet. A gambler hates being bored, so they take trades that aren't there just to feel something. The scaredy cat. This identity is defined by fear. They are afraid to enter a trade, afraid to miss out, and terrified of taking a loss. Their fear of loss is so great that they'll hold a losing trade all the way to zero, praying it turns around, just to avoid the pain of being wrong. The impatient one. This identity believes now is the only time. They operate from a place of scarcity. They think every move is the move. They can't wait for the A+ setup. They take B- and C grade trades because their identity tells them if you don't trade now, you'll miss it forever. The revenge trader. This identity cannot be wrong. A loss isn't just a loss, it's a personal insult. It's the market taking something from them. Their identity demands that they get it back, which leads to bigger, stupider, and more emotional trades until the account is gone. Here is the most important concept you will ever learn about trading psychology. Your actions will never, ever consistently rise above your identity. Your brain is wired for consistency. It hates cognitive dissonance. It hates a mismatch between who you believe you are and what you are doing. So when you try to do something, like follow my trading plan rigidly, but your identity is, I'm an impulsive gambler, your brain goes into panic mode. This is self-sabotage. You will break your rules. You will take the stupid trade. You will blow up your account, not because you're stupid, but to resolve the conflict. You are returning to the identity you're comfortable with. You are proving to yourself, see, I am an impulsive gambler after all. The hamster wheel of doom is just you proving your own negative identity right over and over. The only way to stop this is to change the identity itself. You could have the most profitable trading system in the world, a system with a 70% win rate, back-tested over 20 years. If you give that system to someone with the identity of the gambler, they will lose all their money, guaranteed. Why? Because the gambler won't take the boring setups. They'll skip the small wins. They'll wait for the big one. They'll get bored during the 30% of losing trades, declare the system broken, and go back to their old, exciting, losing habits. You see, the system was perfect. The identity was misaligned. This is why you're stuck. You are trying to put a high-performance engine, your strategy, into a car with a broken transmission, your identity. You are focusing all your energy on tuning the engine, thinking a few more horsepower will fix it, when the real problem is that the power can't even get to the wheels. We have to stop tuning the engine. We have to rebuild the transmission. So, if these are the failing identities, what is the winning identity? What does that person, the consistently profitable trader, look like? Let's find out.
For the next few minutes, I want you to forget about your P&L. Forget about your blown accounts. I want you to imagine, with perfect clarity, that person, the seven-figure trader, the one who does this for a living, the professional. What is their identity? How do they think? How do they operate? When I went through this transformation myself, I realized this profitable avatar isn't just one thing. It's a combination of three distinct core identities that work in harmony. They are the professional, the scientist, and the monk master. First, that person is the professional. Think of them as the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation, Me Inc. A CEO does not get emotionally rattled by one bad day of sales. They don't throw a tantrum and fire their entire staff because one product launch failed. Why? Because a CEO is not outcome-oriented. They are process-oriented. A CEO looks at the quarterly report, not the hourly ticker. They have a business plan, which we call a trading plan. They have a risk management department, which we call risk parameters. The CEO's identity is built on discipline and consistency. They show up every day. At the same time, they do their pre-market preparation. They review their plan. They execute the plan. They do their post-market review. They do this when they're winning. They do this when they're losing. They do this when they're bored. They do this when they're excited. Their identity is, I am a professional. I follow the plan. A professional treats a loss as a cost of doing business. It's an expected expense. It is not a reflection of their self-worth. It is not a failure. It's just data. When you let a red day ruin your entire day, as the sample script I studied mentioned, you are not acting like a CEO. You are acting like an unpaid intern who just spilled coffee on the boss. The professional has separated their performance from their person. This is the first piece of the puzzle. You must become the professional. Second, that person is the scientist. If the CEO is the one who runs the business, the scientist is the one who analyzes the data. A scientist's entire identity is built on one thing: curiosity. They are emotionally neutral and detached from the outcome. Their only goal is to find the truth. Think about it. A scientist in the lab has a hypothesis. If I mix blue liquid and red liquid, I believe it will turn purple. They run the experiment. They mix the liquids. It turns brown. Does the scientist scream, "I hate you, brown liquid"? Does he throw the beaker against the wall and desperately pour more blue liquid in, trying to force it to become purple? No, that would be insane. The scientist calmly picks up their clipboard and writes, hypothesis, purple. Result, brown. Interesting. That's it. No emotion. No revenge experiment. They simply gathered data. The failure of the experiment was the success. The success was gathering data. This is exactly how that person views a trade. Your A+ setup is just a hypothesis. I hypothesize that because price is at this support level and the 50-day moving average is crossing, price will go up. You run the experiment. You take the trade. It hits your stop loss. The scientist's identity says, hypothesis, up. Result, down. Interesting. You open your journal, your lab notes, and you write it down. Market conditions were X, hypothesis failed, data gathered. When you detach from the mistake, when you see a loss not as a failure but as data, you rob it of all its emotional power. You can't revenge trade data. You can't feel guilty about data. That person is not a predictor. They are not a crystal ball gazer. They are a data collector. This is the second piece. You must become the scientist. This is the hardest one. That person is also the monk. If the CEO follows the plan and the scientist collects the data, the monk is the one who does nothing. The monk's identity is built on patience and abundance. In trading, 95% of your job is waiting. Waiting for the market to come to your level. Waiting for your A+ setup. Waiting for the trade to play out. The gambler identity hates this. The impatient one cannot stand this. But the monk is content with doing nothing. They understand a profound secret. Inaction is an action. Choosing not to trade is a winning trade. It's the trade that saves your capital. It's the trade that saves your emotional energy. The monk operates from a mindset of abundance. They know with absolute certainty that the market will be here tomorrow, and the next day, and the next.
There will always be another trade. Therefore, there is no rush. There is no FOMO. There is no, this is the only move. The monk can sit and watch the market rip 100 points without them and feel nothing because it wasn't their setup. And that's okay. They feel good about it because they followed their process. They are satisfied by their patience, not by their P&L. This is the pinnacle of trading psychology. When you can genuinely say, I did nothing today, and it was a perfect trading day, you have achieved the identity of the monk. You have mastered the paradox that inaction is progression. This is the final piece of the puzzle. So you have this new identity, the CEO scientist monk. But here is the paradox that stops 99% traders. They say, okay, I'll act like a CEO as soon as I have a $100,000 account. I'll be a patient monk as soon as I'm consistently profitable. I'll feel like a professional as soon as I make 6 figures. They're waiting for the result, the P&L, to give them the identity. And it will never, ever happen. It is 100% backward. You don't become profitable and then feel like a professional. You decide you are a professional while you're still losing. You act like a professional while your account is still small. You embody the identity of a professional right now, today, with all your baggage and failures. And then, as a consequence of that new identity, the profitability follows. You must be it before you can see it. This is the hardest leap of faith in trading. You have to decide that you are that person long before your bank account validates it. So how does this change actually happen? It's not a switch you flip. It's a journey.
This is the how, but it's not a blueprint. It's an internal process. It's the unseen, internal work required to make this identity shift real. The first thing that has to happen is you have to wipe the slate clean. You cannot build a new house on a rotten foundation. And right now, your psychological foundation is rotten with the baggage of your past. Every blown account, every stupid mistake, every dollar you're trying to win back. That's not just a memory. That's debt. It's a weight that you are carrying into every single trade you take. You're not just trying to win the trade in front of you, you're trying to win back the last 50 losses. It's an impossible weight. You must get to ground zero. As the sample script I studied so wisely put it, you must forgive yourself. I cannot tell you how many traders, myself included, are trapped by this. We are harsher on ourselves than any market, any boss, or any critic. We hold on to the loss from 6 months ago as if it just happened. And that ghost, that memory, dictates our actions today. We trade from a place of fear and shame. The shift begins when you can finally look at that mountain of losses, all those blown accounts and failed challenges, and reframe them. You have to stop seeing it as failure and start seeing it as tuition. It was the price you paid to learn what doesn't work. It was the cost of your old identity. It was the fee for your education in the most brutal university in the world. And at some point, you have to decide that the debt is paid. This is a deep, internal process of letting go. It's a spiritual cleansing. It's the act of setting fire to the old, rotted framework so you can build on fresh ground. It's looking your past self in the eye and saying, I forgive you. You were operating with the only tools you had. You were driven by an identity of fear and scarcity. That person is gone. That debt is paid. Today is ground zero. Until you do this, truly, genuinely forgive yourself, you are trading with anchors on your feet. You cannot move forward. Forgiveness is the act of cutting yourself free, like a snake shedding its old tight skin, finally able to move and grow again. Once you're at ground zero, the next phase begins. You have to define with crystal clarity who is replacing that old identity. You must define the professional avatar. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is an act of conscious creation. You have to decide who you are before the P&L confirms it. This is the fake it till you make it idea, but on a much deeper level. It's not faking, it's acting as if. Think of it as an actor rehearsing a role. At first, the lines feel foreign, but with practice, the actor becomes the king. They don't just say the lines, they think as the king thinks. They embody the role until it is no longer an act. That is what you must do. Your internal monologue has to change. The old monologue is, I hope I make money, I'm struggling, I'm a bad trader. The new monologue, the script of the avatar, is, I am a professional, I am a scientist, I am patient. You start to think from the perspective of this new person. You prime your own brain. When you wake up, you don't think, I hope I don't lose money today. You think, I am a professional and I am going to execute my plan perfectly today. And you create a new system for decision-making. The old system was impulse to action. The new system is impulse, pause, question. In that moment of choice, when the old gambler identity screams at you to take the stupid trade, you create a pause. And in that pause, you ask one simple question. What would the professional do right now? What would that person, the CEO, the scientist, the monk, do in this exact situation? The answer is almost immediately clear. The professional would not revenge trade. They would shut down the charts and protect their capital. The scientist would not move their stop loss. They would honor the experiment. The monk would not trade out of boredom. They would sit on their hands. This question, what would the professional do, is your lifeline. It is the bridge. It's how you practice your new identity moment by moment until it becomes your default. It's how you act as if until you simply are. An identity is useless without proof. It's just a fantasy. You can't just say, I am the professional. You have to prove it to yourself. You do this by building small, identity-based habits. The purpose of these habits is not to make money. The purpose is to provide evidence to your brain that you are this new person. Every time you complete one of these habits, you are casting a vote for your new identity. You are laying another brick in the foundation of your new self. One brick is nothing. 1,000 bricks is a fortress. And over time, the votes add up, and the new identity becomes your reality. This is where the entire game shifts. Your old goal was make money today. A goal you have no control over, a goal you consistently fail at, which reinforces your failure identity. Your new goal becomes act like the professional today, a goal you have 100% control over. What does this look like?
The professional CEO is prepared. So you build a habit of a pre-market briefing. You write down your plan. When you do this, you cast a vote for the professional. That's a win. The scientist is a data collector. So you build a habit of journaling your trades after the market closes. When you do this, even if you lost money, you cast a vote for the scientist. That's a win. The monk is patient. So you build a habit of sitting and only observing for the first hour of the day. You practice being content with the market moving without you. When you do this, you cast a vote for the monk. That's a massive win. Suddenly, you can have a losing day on your P&L, but a 100% perfect, successful day in your process. You can lose $500, but if you followed your plan, executed your A-plus setups, journaled your trades, and maintained your patience, you won. You proved to yourself that you are the professional. This is how you build self-worth on your process, not your P&L. This is the key. This is how you build an identity that is bulletproof to the market's randomness. You are no longer a slave to the outcome. You are a master of your process. Finally, you must protect this new, fragile identity. Your old identity was supported by your environment. Your new one must be too. You have to build a fortress around this new identity. Think about your physical environment, your trading desk. Is it a casino or an office? Is it cluttered, disorganized, and chaotic? That's the environment of the gambler. A professional's environment is clean, organized, and serious. An organized space creates an organized mind. Your environment must reflect your new identity. And even more important, your mental environment. This is the critical piece. As the sample script I studied warned you, you must clean up your social media. Your feed is feeding your identity. It is your information diet. If your feed is full of people posting P&L, Lamborghinis, and stacks of cash, you are eating junk food. It screams scarcity at you. It feeds your old gambler and impatient identities. It makes you feel behind. It makes you want to rush. It reinforces the belief that profit is the goal. You have to unfollow all of it. Your new identity, the CEO, the scientist, doesn't care about someone else's P&L. The CEO cares about process. The scientist cares about data. The monk cares about psychology. You must curate your feed. Only follow traders who discuss process, psychology, data, and strategy. Your information diet must feed your new identity, not your old one. This entire internal journey, the forgiveness, the internal script, the process-based proof, the fortress of your environment, this is the real work. This is the unseen path to profitability. We have covered a massive amount of ground. The journey you are on, this path of trading, is one of the hardest things a person can choose to do. As the original script I studied mentioned, it's a battle of you versus you. There is no one else to rely on. But that is also its greatest gift. The market is a mirror. It is the most honest, brutal, and perfect mirror for your own psychology. It will find every flaw, every insecurity, every unexamined belief, and it will exploit it. For years, you have been looking in that mirror, seeing your flaws and hating yourself for it. Today, that ends. Today, you stop hating the reflection and you start changing the person who is casting it. Stop chasing the money. Stop chasing the P&L. Stop chasing the perfect strategy. Start chasing the professional. Start chasing the scientist. Start chasing the monk. Because the ultimate secret of this game is this: the market doesn't pay you for what you do. It pays you for who you are. It pays you for your patience. It pays you for your discipline. It pays you for your emotional neutrality. Your task is not to find success. Your task is to become the person who deserves it. Your old identity is gone. You've paid the tuition. You shed the old skin. Your new identity is waiting. It's a simple decision away, followed by proof. The only question left is, who are you going to decide to be when the market opens tomorrow? Stop chasing. Start being. And as we close, I have one question for you, and I genuinely want you to answer it in the comments below. Which part of your old identity, the gambler, the scaredy cat, the impatient one, are you deciding to let go of, starting today? Writing it down is an act of commitment. If these ideas resonated with you, and you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This journey is one we'll continue together,